These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
And welcome in to another movie review with Mackey and Judd here, which you can find now on the Score North YouTube channel. And also we have a separate podcast feed for all of our movie reviews we've done going back to the spring of 2020. You can just search movie reviews with Mackey and Judd, Apple, Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating and a positive review if you could to help spread the word about these glorious movie reviews. It started off with Action Movie Rewind back in the day, and then Sports Movie Rewind. We mixed in Rom-Com Rewind, and that's where we land here today, gentlemen. In the last week, we have all seen the cinematic spectacular extravaganza that is Barbie. And we're going to dive deep into what's going to be $1 billion movie at the box office, which I think there's only been like $50 billion movies ever at the box office.
Movies are back. Cool. The theater's back now.
Dude, Oppenheimer, Indiana Jones.
Great to see. Awesome to see.
So many fun things this summer.
Tom Cruise film, right? There's a Mission Impossible out?
Yep, Mission Impossible. It's the first of like kind of a 2-part chapter here.
I like movies.
So we'll give you the summary information, we'll give our statements, and then we'll do our ranking categories here if you are new to movie reviews with Mackey and Judd. First of all, before I dive into this, how was your guys' theater experience for this? This was maybe only like the third movie I've seen since theaters opened up. Top Gun Maverick was the first one last summer. Mm-hmm. It was packed. It was a blast. People were cheering. Like, I had a really, really good time, and it makes me want more big movies to come out.
I went to Edina. The new, or it's not new, the old theater that's been redone has a super cool bar upstairs now, 50th in France. And It was awesome. It was filled, but the chairs are like recliners.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
like seats?
you can, it was it was just phenomenal. The experience was outstanding.
Yeah, my theater was pretty packed, and keep in mind, I saw it late Tuesday night, and it's been out for 2-3 weeks now. And I would say the theater that I saw it in, at an 8:30 Tuesday night show, a pretty obscure time to see a movie, was about 90% full. And it was great. Yeah, I've seen Top Gun Maverick. I saw the new Bond in theaters when that came out now like 2 years ago. And then, I mean, I am a candy guy. I don't love chocolate. So I get the largest icy imaginable, and I get a thing of Twizzlers, and I'm set, man. I am okay.
Joe, what's your go-to snack in a movie theater?
Well, now it's a beer. It used to be popcorn, but the problem is that popcorn is, it's great, but it's so bad for you that I try and stay away, because if I start, I can't stop. Like, popcorn is a weakness for me. So it's
you can get it, like, it's funny because there's really no middle ground. They're moving so fast. You either get it without butter or with butter. You can't really say, like, could you go a little easy on the butter? Yeah, all right, buddy. And they're just pumping butter in there.
And once you start, there ain't no stopping that train.
Yeah, I just kind of commit, like, I need the buttery popcorn. If I'm going to go to 3 movies a year, I need the buttery popcorn, and maybe like some, you guys are going to probably think this is disgusting. I love Raisinets.
Oh God,
what is chocolate covered raisins.
Oh,
so
God.
good.
I said to my mother-in-law yesterday, future mother-in-law, it's like, who the hell would get Raisinets at a movie theater?
This guy right here.
You would.
Really?
I saw them sitting there.
Judd, you're out. You're kind of in, but not fully in on Raisinets.
I'm actually far more repulsed, and I don't know why, by the colored candies, like the reds and the dots, that type of thing, because they're so chewy, they get stuck in your teeth too.
That's my thing with Milk Duds. I love the taste of Milk Duds, but it feels like your jaw's gonna fall out halfway through the movie. You know?
And it coats your mouth because it's got all that stuff in your like this. And you're like, who got a toothpick? And then a toothpick, it's like you're like chiseling away.
Yeah, now you stab your gum with a toothpick and you can't pay attention. It's
you're bleeding all over.
So anyways, now that you got your snacks, you're in the theater and the credits are rolling, it's time for Barbie. And here is the information. To live in Barbie land is to be a perfect being in a perfect place. Unless you have a full-on existential crisis, that is, or unless you're a Ken. I'm just Ken.
I love that. Yeah, great tune.
88% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says Barbie is a visually dazzling comedy whose meta humor is smartly complemented by subversive storytelling.
Yep.
A $145 million budget that so far in only 3 weeks has turned into $811 million at the box office. Just insanely successful. Starring Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Will Ferrell, Kate McKinnon, America Ferrera, Michael Cera, Issa Rae, Rhea Perlman. John Cena made a cameo in this movie. There's other stars too. John Cena, by the way, asked to be in this movie, apparently. He really just wanted to be in this movie. So,
Awesome.
Okay, that makes sense.
So here's a couple other production notes for you guys, and then we can deliver our statements. A live-action Barbie film was announced in September of 2009 by Universal Pictures, 14 years ago.
Really?
Development began in April of 2014 when Sony Pictures acquired the film rights. Following multiple writer and director changes and the casting of Amy Schumer and then later Anne Hathaway as Barbie, the rights were transferred to Warner Brothers in October of 2018, and then Margot Robbie was cast in 2019.
I'm having deja vu. I remember when I remember hearing when Schumer was first going to do this like 10 years ago. That rings a bell. That does ring a bell.
So she actually was very involved in like rewriting and crafting the script for this movie way back in the day. And I guess she had like differences in opinion with the studio or the director about what the movie's tone should be.
Yeah.
So she had like creative differences that prevented her from staying on this movie. But I think, first of all, Margot Robbie is incredible in this movie. And she's, she can do any accent in any movie. She's one of the best actresses, I think, of the last like 10 years. It's hard to imagine this movie with anyone else but Margot Robbie. But an Amy Schumer version would have been probably hilarious, but totally different, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Barbie would have sworn a lot if Amy Schumer had done it or something. Like it would have been a different.
She wouldn't be stereotypical Barbie.
Yeah,
that's right.
It'd be a completely different type of Barbie.
Yeah, it still could be funny, but it'd be a little bit more off color.
Instead of it being kind of a tongue-in-cheek social commentary on like patriarchy versus matriarchy, it would have been like she's the janky Barbie or something that Margot Robbie said that she actually initially wanted Gal Gadot to play Barbie in the film, but Gadot was unavailable due to scheduling conflicts. And then here's another note from Fran Drescher, who is the president of the guild, right? That's on strike.
Yeah.
The studios apparently duped the Actors Guild into delaying their strike by 12 days. They said, "Hey, let's negotiate for 12 more days."
Really?
So that they could promote movies like Barbie and Oppenheimer a little bit longer. So those are your production notes. All right, let's start with Judd here. What is your first statement about the movie Barbie?
So this goes back to, we were at a movie, what did we see? I forget, a few months ago, and I saw the preview for this, and I thought, I'm out, no thanks. Wow. But my statement is this film is incredibly smart. It is, what makes this film special is the fact that it within itself can appeal to so many different people of different ages, can appeal to both genders for very different reasons. But I feel like this film does a great job, and plus there's just a flat out toy angle that is just beyond genius as far as trying to sell toys now from Mattel, who allowed themselves to look foolish, but for a very good purpose. But I thought that the smarts of this film was off the charts. Now, if you're a kid, it is probably still fun, but there is definitely an undertone, or just basically there is the ability in the script that appeals to adults too. And I think that this film is about as well done as you could possibly do a project like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the meta humor in this movie was hilarious. Just the little, there's that scene where Ryan Gosling Ken goes up to Barbie and he says, "I was thinking maybe I could come over tonight," and she's like, "Sure, but to do what?" And he's like, "I guess I don't really know because they don't have genitals."
Yeah,
like dolls. It's like that type of stuff. There's all these just hilarious little one-liners and stuff. There's
stuff that kids really wouldn't sort of get, but adults do, and it makes it hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, keep going. Exactly.
All right. Perfectly casted roles for Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. There is not a more quintessential Barbie and Ken in all of Hollywood than Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Both of these people are perfect. I cannot imagine this film by anyone else. And I loved the scene where she's having a little bit of a nervous breakdown up with Kate McKinnon, and I believe it's Helen Miren, right, who's narrating the film.
Yeah, Helen Miren. Yes.
Yeah. And you know, they say, note to the actors, maybe don't cast Margot Robbie for this scene when they're talking about Barbie not looking pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like she's the perfect, by default, and maybe even for all the wrong reasons too, she's the perfect role for quintessential Barbie, dude. I like Margot Robbie. I have a ton of respect for her. I will say I don't love a lot of her movies, but I think she's an incredible actress. And she is the perfect Barbie, and Ken is great. I mean, the six-pack abs that we talked about on Purple Daily a few days ago, his singing, his dancing, his acting, it is perfect, dude.
I want to look up actually, where can I look up the Ryan Gosling diet for Barbie? Real quick. I'm just going to Google this because we talked about this.
I Googled it and I found the entire thing from his diet to his workout plan.
Yeah.
And I got tired looking at it.
It's insane. So this is from manofmany.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with intermittent fasting. His workout regime included, so this is, let's see here. God, this is the second time I've gone to an article, and instead of giving us a list, it just gives us a bunch. Knee strike bridges, crunch and punch, ab scissors kicks, traditional bodybuilding and split program 5 days a week for an hour and a half of strength building, 2 non-consecutive days of rest, Pilates and core-based workouts, squats and pull-ups, ballet and gymnastics, and some Muay Thai training. That's just the workout side of it.
Yep.
And then he was just his diet was completely stripped down. This is the second or third movie, though, where he literally looks like he has painted on. Well, they make the joke in Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes.
She's like, my God, are you Photoshopped?
It looks like you're Photoshopped.
But if someone told you, hey, you have to do this for a year and a half, and then you're going to go make $25 million filming a movie.
Right.
Could you do all of these things and basically eat kale and intermittent fast for a year and a half? Like Ryan
I think
Gosling
the workout
does?
would kill me. I think I would die during.
You'd ease into it, right? You wouldn't just do all these. You wouldn't just do all of these on the first day.
I think I'd die.
No, okay. Okay.
I don't think I could do it. I mean, I'm not kidding. I don't think I could do it. Declan,
Right,
you're young. Could you do it?
Hell no, I'm not doing this. No, I like food, and I like drinking, and I like being a POS. There's no chance I'm eating kale and not doing all that intermediate
I
fasting.
mean, it's 25 million, but I just couldn't do it.
No, can't do it. Can't do it.
Okay, my first statement is this is one of the most brilliantly marketed movies of all time. This is, aside from Star Wars and Marvel movies where people wait in lines all day and they dress up like Chewbacca and whatever, I don't think I've ever seen a movie theater this packed with people dressed to go to the movie, right?
Including
It's
my wife
insane.
on Sunday.
Yeah. My mother-in-law was upset I did not wear any pink to this, and then I was forced to take a picture with her in the box at the movie theater. So those photos.
Oh, Dawn tried to get me in the box. I said no way.
Yep.
I said no way. But she actually ordered on Amazon a $25 Barbie T-shirt and wore a pink jacket. And yes, Phil's exactly right.
Yeah, think about just even putting those Barbie boxes at theaters and having, I don't know. So we went to the St. Anthony Main Theater in Minneapolis. And and I don't know, it's the first time I've been there since they reopened it. Yep. So they either painted the whole interior pink for Barbie, or it was just pink because it's pink. But you see all these theaters that even the Google takeovers, when you Google Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, those pages are all just pink and Barbie themed and stuff.
Right.
So I just don't know if I can remember a movie outside of the comic movies or Star Wars that had this many people fired up, dressing up, people taking pictures with the Barbie signs and everything, cheering during the movie. People don't dress up like James Bond,
Right.
people don't wear suits to movies, but they dress up in pink for Barbie, and it's crazy.
The box is incredible. The toy box is so smart.
Mm-hmm.
The life-size toy box, that is genius, because there were people of every age group going in. But I told Dawn, I ain't doing that. I said, yeah, I'll go to this film. In fact, I'm looking forward to it, but I ain't going in that box.
Why? We needed a Judd picture in the Barbie box.
Yeah. I guess because what would have happened is she would have.
You from that's where I'm drawing the line at making fun of myself is the Barbie box.
I didn't want to go in the Barbie box. Sorry.
You're perpetuating some of the stereotypes that exist in this movie by not going to the Barbie box.
That's why the movie was good, because the stereotypes are partially at least true. My next statement is this, because this was not like a really short film, but this film transitioned at times perfectly. Because there were times when it's like, this is getting pretty preachy, and bang, they'd be off of it. The insertion of the Gosling and the Ken musical number was genius. It was good, but more importantly, it was sort of tracking in a path of, this is getting a little bit preachy right now, right? Because like, I don't want the movie at its core was fun, but I thought that they did a great job of basically segmenting the film to switch around, so it never just appealed to one group, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, can we talk about the preachy thing for a second here? Because you hear all these, I don't want to like get political here, but you hear people, this movie is political or whatever. I was on, in fact, our guy Tom Bernard, you and I make appearances on his morning show, and Tom can be kind of a grizzled guy, and I said, he was mentioning that he couldn't watch the Twins last Sunday. I said, I didn't either, because I went to Barbie. And he was like, you went to Barbie? I would never see that. It's too political. And I was like, no, it's a movie, for one. It's shining a light on, and if we're being honest, like, look at the history of this country and the world. Like, it's largely a patriarchy. Male presidents and male CEOs and stuff.
It makes fun of both sides too.
Correct.
Yes.
It's showing you this is what life would be like if women kind of ran things in this Barbie way, and this is what it's like with Will Ferrell leading the male, executive boardroom. And so I don't know, man. Like, people getting offended by this movie, I just think need to take a chill pill. That's
so not to drop in spoilers, but there is a part where the Kens get aggressive against each other. That is making fun of how women treat women. Like, that whole thing was a spoof on the fact that they often don't get along. So like, this way, it went both ways. There was no, like, I didn't say, man, as a male, I feel put down. They basically, what they're saying is human beings have a lot of problems, but they do it in a fun way. So I'm with you. I did not walk out like, well, that was a statement. I walked out like, it made you think a little bit, for sure, but it was not trying to make a statement anti women or men, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. And I saw the political discourse that was like taking place with this movie, and I kind of was like, what is it? All right, so what's going to happen? I know what this movie's probably going to be about, but I walked out of that theater thinking that was just a fun movie. Like, why do we have to like polarize it as it's just it's trying to put men down and you're a bad person for being a man and stuff. I was like, I had no takeaway from that film.
Unless you like have this really insecure, fragile mindset. Like, that's the only way that you would think that your masculinity was being challenged in the real world. I also want to go back, Judd, you mentioned like a minute ago, you apologized for a potential spoiler. I would just say that if you are 20 minutes into a Barbie movie review right now, there will be spoilers here.
I just don't want to give away too much, though. Like, I don't need to talk about exactly why.
Who's listening to this 20 minutes in that hasn't seen the movie, though? That's oh my God, I realize now that I haven't seen this movie.
You never know. I'm trying to help people out. I'm trying to cut,
we can give spoilers here. So this is
still in
a
theaters.
Safe space.
All right.
Okay.
I think my favorite character in this movie is Alan. I loved Michael Cera's character, dude. Alan.
He's up.
And I know that there's a lot of like Barbie not trivia facts, but there's historical Barbie figures that go way over my head, as you can probably guess, someone who didn't play with Barbie.
Alan's one of them.
But Alan's one of them, and I loved his character. He was perfect. He's not Ken, but he's just like kind of caught in this funny limbo land. And Cera, we were texting late last night when I got out of the theater, and Judd said it too. Like, Michael Cera doesn't miss. I know he's actually a very weird man in person, and basically I don't know if you guys have seen Molly's Game, the poker game. Phil, you probably have seen Molly's Game, right? Like that is Michael Cera's character on there is also really good. But I loved his character in that entire film, man. He is probably my favorite one throughout the entire movie.
The end with him is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Where he's supposedly just this terrible person. Yes, he is. I don't think I've ever seen him in a role and been like, ugh, that wasn't good. it's almost always at least at the very least worth a laugh. So yes.
So I found on the Barbie fandom wiki website.
Oh, nice. Yep.
They have a history of all the Barbies that you saw in the movie, like pregnant Barbie, like some of these cast-off Barbies. They were real Barbies going back to the 60s. So Alan was named after the son-in-law of Mattel co-founder Ruth Handler. The first Alan doll was released in 1964, and he was marketed as Ken's buddy, who could also fit into Ken's clothes. Ken and Alan, just buddies who share clothes together.
But Ken's the cool one. Let's make very sure of that.
The wedding day Alan doll was him on his wedding day. He was marrying Barbie's friend Midge. The doll was also part of the wedding party Midge gift set.
and Midge got pregnant, right?
Yes, Midge and Alan were.
And then they got rid
together.
of Midge.
Yep.
That's hilarious. That's real. They're like, let's have a pregnant Barbie.
So Alan and his pregnant wife Midge, and then Barbie and Ken. So I think my favorite like story, there's a bunch of like sort of sub stories in this movie, is when Ken realizes as he leaves Barbie world for the real world and they finally emerge into like, you know, California, whatever. And he's there for maybe a half hour and he realizes, oh, men are treated with respect. I was asked for the time.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
He starts to realize that like men kind of run things here. This is great. I'm going to go to a bookstore and buy books about cars. And he gets obsessed with like the cowboy and horse history of the country and stuff. And then there's that scene where, and this is where, again, like if you're offended by this, there's a shred of truth, if not more than a shred of truth. When he's talking to that guy and says something, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have the exact line, but he says something like, "Hi, I'd like a high-paying, influential job with a big title. You know, What experience do you have? Not much.
Yeah.
I'm just a man." And from a woman's perspective, like that's historically not as much now maybe as like 50 years ago, but that's kind of how it is. So if you can't kind of laugh at that, okay, yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. Then go watch a different movie, I guess. All right, back to Judd.
I've got one more, and that is this. The scenes with Rhea Pearlman, who of course is, I believe, still married to Danny DeVito and was on Cheers as Carla, who was this roughneck. The scenes with her actually caused me to well up a little bit.
Wow.
They were so sweet, and her character was such a 180 to what Carla was. But I actually thought that when Barbie is in the Mattel building and, you know, is trying to run away from the executives and goes in that back room on like the 17th floor, and Rhea Pearlman's got her like kitchen back there. I just thought that was really, really well done. And what I really liked about it was a really good way to incorporate part of a different storyline as well that you didn't expect. Like that scene was sort of weird, but it was really, really good, I thought. But yeah, there are definitely, I wouldn't call them emotional, but there are definitely a few really tender things about sort of people in general that I thought was really good. And I thought that Rhea Pearlman was outstanding in that role.
How about this? The cycle of Judd and Barbie is the first time he saw a preview, he's like, no chance.
Well,
I'm ever
the
going
preview
to
looks so
And he gets about halfway
so
through and he's like, oh my God, I'm crying. This is crazy.
Because it just looked so stupid at first, but they did a great job of incorporating different things. I really think at the end of the day, it was an intelligent film.
It was a very intelligent film. Very intelligent. Yeah. Dex?
Yeah, last one from me, and it would just be, I thought this movie ended perfectly. The ending scene to where she walks in, you're thinking like, all right, so she's gonna apply for a job. Like, no, she's actually gonna go to her gynecologist. Like, I thought it was just brilliant to end it just like that.
Barbie 2, baby, it's coming up. You know it's coming up.
There'll be a sequel.
It has
to
be, right? Yeah.
But I love the ending. I liked, to Judd's point, it was kind of a sweet little way of whatever you want to be, you can be Barbie. And I liked how they ended Ken's kind of arc throughout the movie. I thought it was wrapped up perfectly. It wasn't cheesy. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't ridiculous. I thought they ended it perfectly. And then that end scene too, where she walks into her gynecologist's office, I thought was perfect. I thought it was a perfect ending to this movie.
Yeah. I was trying to think, like, what is she? God, is she applying for a job? Is she like, what is she doing? And then boom, the movie's over. It was fantastic. My only last thing for you guys before we get to the category rankings is more of a question. So you had the Barbie dream house that she lived in and all the Barbies lived in. And then when the men took over and made it a patriarchy, then they had the Kendom. They called it, instead of the
It was
kingdom,
hilarious.
the Kendom, right?
Yes. Absolutely hilarious.
And there's just beer in the fridge, and he asks Barbie to go get him a beer at one point.
Brewski.
A brewski? Give me a brewski.
I forgot what it was.
So if you could build a male version, like your own Judd kingdom or your own Dex kingdom, what would you have to have in your own dream house?
Well, number one, I love the fact how when they turned the Ken Kingdom into this, because this is a total guy move house. I once lived with upwards of 6 guys in a college house. And did you notice how when it's Ken Kingdom and it's at night and they're all like contemplating what they're going to do to take over Ken Kingdom, every room has a TV in it? Because that's a total guy move to have like 12 TVs in a house for 6 people.
Yeah,
I love that.
Funny.
I would love a little like par 3 chipping thing.
That's
I would love that.
I need
I need one of those.
Some kind.
I love that he had a
You want
driver in his
house.
Yeah, I love how he had a driver in his belt. Ryan Gosling did. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think here. Like, I would for sure want the chipping thing. I don't know.
His line at the end about the small fridge too.
Oh,
it's so small because he couldn't fit enough beers in there. It was just outstanding because he's 1,000% right.
I have a small fridge in my home studio here, and the first month I had like LaCroix and some snacks and stuff. Like, there's been nothing in it for 3 months. I feel like everyone has a small fridge, or everyone that has a small fridge, you don't use it nearly as much as you think you would. You just use your real fridge, right?
Exactly.
So, all right, let's get to the categories here. Presented by our friends. By the way, if you want to look like Ken, maybe you should talk to our friends at Livia, Judd.
And they can help you do that. And they can not only help you do that, but they can help you keep the weight off as well. That's right, because this is a program that I guarantee it's going to work. It worked for me. It's worked for a ton of Score North listeners and viewers. It's going to work for you too. And the good news is Livia Days have arrived. The best deal of the summer. Join today. Get 50% off your personalized program. Lose 10 pounds or more in the first 2 weeks. Voted Minnesota's best weight loss program year after year. 855-GO-LIVIA. Livia, LIVEA.com. This is a program that works and at which you don't have to be scared of a workout program, because the Livia folks are going to help you shed those pounds.
All right. We've got 2 different ranking categories here. The first one is the definitive relationship rankings. This is going to be an interesting one because it's one of the most prominent and famous relationships in history. It's Barbie and Ken.
Yeah, especially since they're... Yeah.
The criteria is chemistry. So we're looking for sort of a combination of chemistry between the characters, but also chemistry between the actress and the actor. And to this point, of the like 17 or 18 different rom-coms we've reviewed, only one perfect 10, but it was Ryan Gosling. It was Jacob and Cal from Crazy Stupid Love. And then Hitch and Cera are number 2 from the movie Hitch. Noah and Allie from The Notebook, tied with Joe Fox and Kathleen Kelly from You've Got Mail, tied with Ben Barry and Andy Anderson from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So on a 1 to 10, how would you rate the chemistry between Barbie and Ken and Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling?
Well, first of all, I'm going to give this a higher ranking than I did Gosling and McAdams.
Okay.
In The Notebook, because I actually think the chemistry here was better than that. I know that you guys don't necessarily agree with me. It's interesting. Their chemistry as actors was really good. The chemistry between them as their characters, because they were dolls, presented some problems. But I'm going to give it a 7. Give it a 7. I thought for what they were going for, I'm gonna give them a little bit of grace here, because it wasn't supposed to be like a love story between 2 humans. I think it worked out pretty well. Both were really, really good. I'm gonna give them a 7.
I will give it a 9.
Wow.
I think it's a 9. And to Judd's point, they have to play dolls. So like that hilarious kiss scene where he like leans in and it's like he's basically kissing her, but they're not kissing. And he's like, "Wow, that was amazing." I thought their chemistry throughout the whole thing was really good. And also, I mean, Ken's character takes this like evil turn. He takes the heel turn midway through once he realizes he can start his own type of world. And then I loved their ending at the end. That like it's not that Ken gets the girl or vice versa. It's that Ken can just be Ken and Barbie can just be Barbie. Yes, they're two incredible actors, so that also helps. But I would say it's a 9 out of 10.
It's a 9 for me too, man. It was creative. It was clever. You know, Gosling can just kind of be with anyone on screen, and Margot Robbie can just play like any character. She's become just an incredible character actress. So it's a 9 for me. Let's go to the that. By the way, that ties it. That's an 8.3 aggregate between the three of us. So it ties it for third place with The Notebook, You've Got Mail, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. The main couples from those. So now we're just looking for a 1 to 10 ranking for how entertaining this movie was. The entertainment value ranking. The only 10 we've given out is Crazy Stupid Love. There's 3 9s or higher for Getting Sarah Marshall, Hitch, and 10 Things I Hate About You. And then the rest of the rankings go like this. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, The Notebook, You've Got Mail, Jerry Maguire, While You Were Sleeping, and Sleepless in Seattle, all above a 7. What Women Want, 50 First Dates, Fever Pitch, She's Out of My League, Sweet Home Alabama, all between 6 and 7. And then the 2 worst ones we've reviewed, both at 5.3, are The American President and My Best Friend's Wedding. So we'll start with Judd. How entertaining was this movie on a 1 to 10 scale?
Both the stars were outstanding. Greta Gerwig continues to deliver great films. She's just fantastic. I'm going to give it a 10.
Whoa!
I'm going to give it a
10.
It was, look, I went in with no expectation and was blown away with how they did a perfect job, I thought, of appealing to a ton of people. And they also kept it weird enough where I'm sure that there are some who didn't like it because it was weird, but I thought it being weird was the icing on the cake. I'm going to give it a 10.
It's a 9 for me. I'm going to give it a 9. Again, I don't think it's a perfect movie. It's a fun. I loved it. I definitely would watch this again. This is for sure a stop and watch movie if it ever comes to HBO or comes on the TV at a hotel room. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I really liked it.
Declan's the spoiler here because it's also a 10 for me. This movie was so entertaining.
Yep.
The soundtrack is hilarious
Oh,
too.
we didn't
It's just
talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. There's so many like weird, catchy songs, and it's totally a movie. It's funny because it's mindless, but also really thoughtful at the same time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you
that's
want,
the special thing.
if you wanted to watch it just mindlessly, totally could. If you wanted to watch it for like a little bit of societal meaning, you could. And
America
I would totally
Ferrara
stop on this movie.
Is also really
She's really good in this
She's
movie.
really good. Her
She's really good in
speech,
general.
that speech was well done.
Took her
yeah.
40 takes, by the way, to nail that speech, apparently.
I'm sure.
According to reports.
I would love to know the reasoning of why I think I know, but still I would just love to hear the horse's mouth of why Rob Thomas in Matchbox 20 is the Ken doll. Why that's
Yes,
the Ken
yeah.
doll anthem. I
It's
would
so
love
obvious.
to know
It's-
it.
Push you wherever.
It's so obvious.
I'm gonna sing to you with my guitar.
I would honestly pay to be in the writer's room to make this. Like, what was the 5 songs? I don't know why my mic keeps going in and out. What were the 5 songs that were on the chopping block for the Ken doll song? And why was it
Yes.
Matchbox 20 and Rob Thomas on that one?
And every one of them was from the 90s.
Yes.
But between that and the Indigo Girls song, right, which was the one that they used, those were not surprising choices, but they were perfect.
Yes.
I thought they were
man.
perfect choices.
It's hilarious. So, all right, so that makes it a 9.7. It's the second best rom-com that we have reviewed, just behind Crazy Stupid Love. So Ryan Gosling taking the top 2 spots right now.
He deserves it.
And if you want to count Eva Mendes and Hitch, he's married to Eva Mendes. So like Ryan Gosling's influence on this entire criteria is felt even externally.
3
come on
9s
our
or
show.
above in the family, man. So we can get
Come on
Ryan
and talk about
Gosling.
his training regime. I
We
mean,
could
we're
probably-
certainly
we could
being
probably
nice
get
to
him
him.
on. You know,
Certainly being nice to him.
we could probably get him on movie reviews with Mackey and Judd if we get enough Apple 5-star ratings. Let's make it happen.
Four good-looking guys.
That's right. You wouldn't be able to distinguish, at least from the, from the chest up anyways. I think if,
Chisel.
if we had to show our abs, it might be a different story.
Oh, no, we're not doing that.
There we go. So this, we're on hiatus for a little bit here with the movie reviews, but you can keep recommendations coming in. We'll stockpile lists, and we'll definitely do another run of movie reviews with Mackey and Judd sometime in the near future. So yeah, all right, go see Barbie. I guess if you haven't seen it yet, then now you know everything that happens, but you should go see it anyways if you haven't. It's fun. See ya.
Yeah.